Hi everyone, welcome to techydiy. I'm Nigel, and in this video I'm going to show you how I built an infinity illusion mirror. The infinity mirror consists of a wooden frame, a mirror in the back, some LED lights around the middle, and a partially reflective mirror in the front. Partially reflective mirrors are also known as one-way or two-way mirrors, and they reflect some light and allow the rest to pass through. The infinity illusion effect comes from the light reflecting between the two mirrors and the partial mirror allowing some of the light to pass out each time. So let's have a look at the parts that I used. Firstly, wood for the frame, a mirror tile from Ikea, a reel of white 12V LED tape, a sheet of glass, silver reflective window film, and a square of plywood for the back. You can find a full list of all the parts and tools in the video description and also on my website, which you can access by clicking the eye symbol in the top right hand corner of the screen. So the first job was to create the profile for the sides of the frame, and I did that on a router table. The profile has a groove for the partially reflective mirror and a rabbet for the full mirror. To make life easier, I cut the wood in half. Then I cut a rabbet in each length of wood with a 16mm diameter straight bit. And followed that by a groove with a 4mm diameter straight bit. I then set the mitre saw to 45 degrees and cut one of the two lengths of wood in half, and then moved the right hand piece over to cut a new mitre on its right hand side. I cut the second length of wood in half and once again moved over the right hand piece to cut a mitre on its right hand side. Next, I marked the final length on one of the side pieces, and I used the sacrificial fence to cut it exactly to size on the mitre saw. I clamped the offcut onto the fence as a stop block, and used that to cut the mitres on the other three sides. To make sure everything was okay, I dry fitted the sides along with the glass and the mirror. Next I sprayed the insides of the side pieces with matte black paint. Then I applied wood glue to one of the sides. Assembled the frame, and clamped it together with a band clamp. I checked that it was all square and left it to dry. To reinforce the two glued corners, I installed wooden dowels. And to make drilling the holes for the dowels easier, I made up a jig, which was a block of wood cut at 45 degrees with two tubes strapped to the face acting as guides for the drill bit. This was clamped on one side of the corner and a block of wood clamped to the other side to ensure a clean exit hole. I applied wood glue and tapped the dowels through the holes. Then once the glue had dried, I cut off the excess and sanded them flat. The next job was to install the LED strip onto the frame. Now I could have wrapped the tape around the inside in one piece, but I thought it would look more uniform if I cut it into 4 sections and then soldered them together with flexible wires. So I cut 3 lengths of LED tape at the marked positions, tinned the connections on each tape and also the stripped wires. I soldered the wires to the tapes, removed the backing from the first length of LED tape, and using a pencil line that I'd marked earlier, stuck it to the side. I then repeated the process for the other 2 lengths of LED tape, making sure that they were orientated in the same direction. The wires were then soldered to the neighbouring LED tapes, connecting positive to positive and negative to negative. This was a good point to test the LED strip, and you can see the infinity effect starting to take shape. I realised at this point that I would need a place for the power cable to exit the frame, so I routed a slot in the fourth side. I decided that it was a good idea to paint the top and the inside edges of the frame before the glass was installed. The paint I used was from Rustoleum with a silver base coat and a chalky graphite top coat designed to be rubbed back for a distressed look. So first of all I applied the silver base coat. I did get carried away and painted the sides as well, which I shouldn't have done. Once it was dry I applied the chalky graphite coat, and when that was dry I rubbed it back with a stainless steel kitchen scrubber. Finally I applied a coat of lacquer to the inside edge and the top. Next I applied the silver reflective mirror film to the glass. I used 2 pieces of masking tape stuck to either side to separate the film from its backing. And I used a mister to spray soapy water onto the film. The glass was cleaned thoroughly before I started the process, and I wore plastic gloves to avoid fingerprints. I used a silicone squeegee blade to remove the air bubbles. And then I cut the excess away with a sharp knife. I left the mirror film to dry on the glass for 24 hours and then installed it into the frame with the film facing inside. Then I applied wood glue and clamped the frame. Checked that it was square and left it to dry. I drilled holes through the 2 corners using the drilling jig. Applied wood glue to the dowels. And tapped them in place. Cut off the excess. And sanded them flat. Then I applied silver paint to the sides, followed by the graphite coat, rubbed it down with a stainless steel scourer, and applied lacquer. The next job was to install the 4th LED strip. I cut a short and a long length of flex, stripped the ends of the wires, twisted them together, tinned the wires, and then soldered the wires to the LED strip. I removed the backing from the LED strip and stuck it down. The wires from the left-hand LED strip were soldered to the newly installed strip, keeping the polarity the same. The short wires from the newly installed LED strip were soldered to the right-hand strip, again keeping the polarity the same. So in effect I created a ring circuit with the power fed in at one corner. The long wires were then connected to a DC power adapter socket. The power cable was secured in place with hot glue, and I also used it to insulate the soldered LED connections. Wearing gloves to avoid fingerprints, I cleaned the partially reflective mirror and also the mirror tile, and then installed the mirror tile into the frame, followed by a plywood back, which was then secured in place with nails. So the final thing to do was plug it in. I think the infinity mirror has worked really well, but please leave a comment and let me know what you think. All the parts and tools used in the project are listed in the video description and also on my website, and I will put a link to that on the end screen. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then please subscribe, and if you did like the video, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you again next time.